Piety requires us to honor truth above our friends. Pleasure in the job puts perfection in the work. Poetry demands a man with a special gift for it, or else one with a touch of madness in him. Poetry is finer and more philosophical than history, for poetry expresses the universal, and history only the particular. Poverty is the parent of revolution and crime. Probable impossibilities are to be preferred to improbable possibilities. Republics decline into democracies and democracies degenerate into despotism. Something is infinite if, taking it quantity by quantity, we can always take something outside. Teenagers these days are out of control. They eat like pigs, they are disrespectful of adults, they interrupt and contradict their parents, and they terrorize their teachers. The actuality of thought is life. The aim of art is to represent not the outward appearance of things, but their inward significance. The aim of the wise is not to secure pleasure, but to avoid pain. The antidote for 50 enemies is one friend. The beauty of the soul shines out when a man bears with composure one heavy mischance after another, not because he does not feel them, but because he is a man of high and heroic temper. The difference between a learned man and an ignorant one is the same as that between a living man and a corpse. The educated differ from the uneducated as much as the living from the dead. The energy of the mind is the essence of life. The gods too are fond of a joke. The greatest thing by far is to be a master of metaphor. It is the one thing that cannot be learned from others, and it is also a sign of genius, since a good metaphor implies an intuitive perception of the similarity of the dissimilar. The happy life is regarded as a life in conformity with virtue. It is a life which involves effort and is not spent in amusement. The ideal man bears the accidents of life with dignity and grace, making the best of circumstances. The least initial deviation from the truth is multiplied later 1,000-fold. The most perfect political community is one in which the middle class is in control and outnumbers both of the other classes. The one exclusive sign of thorough knowledge is the power of teaching. The proof that you know something is that you are able to teach it. The roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet. The secret to humor is surprise. The society that loses its grip on the past is in danger, for it produces men who know nothing but the present, and who are not aware that life had been, and could be, different from what it is. The true and the approximately true are apprehended by the same faculty. It may also be noted that men have a sufficient natural instinct for what is true, and usually do arrive at the truth. Hence, the man who makes a good guess at truth is likely to make a good guess at probabilities. The ultimate value of life depends upon awareness and the power of contemplation rather than upon mere survival. The worst form of inequality is to try to make unequal things equal. There is no great genius without some touch of madness. This is the reason why mothers are more devoted to their children than fathers. It is that they suffer more in giving them birth and are more certain that they are their own. Those that know, do. Those that understand, teach. Those who educate children well are more to be honored than they who produce them, for these only gave them life, those the art of living well. Through discipline comes freedom. To be conscious that we are perceiving or thinking is to be conscious of our own existence. To love someone is to identify with them. To the query, what is a friend? His reply was a single soul dwelling in two bodies. To write well, express yourself like common people, but think like a wise man. Or, think as wise men do, but speak as the common people do. We cannot learn without pain. We live in deeds, not years, in thoughts, not breaths, in feelings, not in figures on a dial. We should count time by heart throbs. He most lives who thinks most, feels the noblest, acts the best. We make war that we may live in peace. We must be neither cowardly nor rash, but courageous. Whosoever is delighted in solitude is either a wild beast or a god. We praise a man who feels angry on the right grounds and against the right persons and also in the right manner at the right moment and for the right length of time. Why is it that all those who have become eminent in philosophy, politics, poetry, or the arts are clearly of an atrabilious temperament, and some of them to such an extent as to be affected by diseases caused by black bile? Wicked men obey from fear, good men from love. Wishing to be friends is quick work, but friendship is a slow ripening fruit. Wit is educated insolence. You will never do anything in the world without courage. It is the greatest quality of the mind next to honor.